Picture this. You're standing on a mirror that stretches to the horizon, reflecting clouds so perfectly that you can't tell where the earth ends and the sky begins. It's breathtaking, otherworldly, almost magical. But one wrong step, and you could find yourself lost in a salt desert so vast and disorienting that rescue teams might never find you. Welcome to Earth's extremes, places where nature has painted masterpieces with the most dangerous brushstrokes imaginable. What if I told you that the most beautiful places on our planet are also the most hostile, that the very conditions that make them deadly are exactly what makes them stunning beyond belief? Today, we're embarking on a journey to 10 of Earth's most extreme destinations. These aren't your typical vacation spots. These are places where temperatures can kill you in minutes, where the air itself becomes your enemy, and where one mistake could be your last. Yet somehow these hostile environments have created some of the most breathtaking landscapes our planet has to offer. From salt flats that mirror the heavens, to deserts that could melt metal, from frozen wastelands that make Mars seem hospitable to volcanic landscapes that look like alien worlds, we're about to explore why Earth's extremes continue to captivate adventurers, scientists, and dreamers alike. Stay with us until the end, so you discover the place where gravity seems to disappear and walking on clouds becomes reality, but where one wrong step could leave you lost forever in a landscape so disorienting that rescue teams use it to calibrate satellites. If you're ready to discover why beauty and danger dance together in these incredible places, then let's begin our journey to Earth's most hostile, beautiful destinations. What if I told you there's a place on Earth where ancient trade routes once carried more wealth than modern highways, yet a single wrong turn could mean certain death? The Sahara Desert spans 11 countries and covers an area larger than the entire United States, but numbers can't capture the raw power of this place. Imagine standing at the edge of the world's largest hot desert, watching golden sand dunes rise like frozen waves. Some reach heights of 600 feet. The morning light turns these mountains of sand into glowing amber sculptures, shifting and changing with every breath of wind. This is beautiful desolation at its finest. The Sahara creates landscapes so stunning that they've inspired poets and painters for centuries. Ancient trade routes like the legendary Silk Road carved paths through this sandy ocean. They connected civilizations and cultures across continents. Hidden oases emerge like mirages made real, offering pockets of green life in an otherwise endless sea of gold. But the Sahara's beauty comes with a deadly price. Daytime temperatures regularly soar above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cause heat stroke in minutes. The sand itself becomes scorching, reaching temperatures that can literally burn through shoe soles. At night, this same desert transforms into a freezing wasteland, with temperatures plummeting to near freezing. Sandstorms in the Sahara are legendary for good reason. These walls of sand can rise miles into the sky, moving at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. They swallow entire landscapes, turning day into night and burying everything in their path. The finest sand particles can penetrate every piece of equipment, every shelter, even your lungs. Yet people have called the Sahara home for thousands of years. The Tuareg people have mastered the art of reading the desert's moods. They navigate by stars and understand the subtle signs that mean the difference between life and death. They've learned to find water where others see only sand, to predict weather patterns that can change in hours. The Sahara teaches us that Earth's extremes aren't just about surviving hostile conditions. They're about finding beauty in the most unlikely places. But our journey into Earth's extremes is just beginning. Next, we're traveling to the opposite end of the temperature spectrum, to a place where the cold itself becomes a living, breathing enemy. Imagine a place so cold that your breath becomes ice crystals before it leaves your mouth, yet so beautiful that visitors describe it as stepping into another world. Antarctica isn't just cold, it's a different kind of cold that redefines what the human body can endure. This is Earth's most pristine wilderness, a continent covered in ice so thick that it contains 90% of the world's fresh water. The landscape here is sculptured by forces that dwarf human imagination: glaciers the size of countries, ice formations that look like frozen cathedrals, and mountain ranges buried under miles of ice. The beauty of Antarctica is almost supernatural. Aurora displays the southern lights, paint the sky in colors that seem too vivid to be real. They dance across the polar night in sheets of green, blue, and purple light. Icebergs carved by thousands of years of wind and water create sculptures that would be impossible to design by human hands. Some are crystal clear, others are striped with layers of ancient ice. Each tells a story of Earth's climate history. But Antarctica's beauty masks one of the most hostile environments on Earth. The average temperature at the South Pole is -56 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can plummet to -80 degrees or lower. At these temperatures, exposed skin freezes in minutes. Your breath becomes visible clouds of ice crystals, and metal becomes so cold it can shatter like glass. The wind in Antarctica isn't just cold, it's a force of nature that can knock you off your feet completely. Powerful cold winds roar down from the polar plateau at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. They carry with them a wind chill that can drop the apparent temperature to -150 degrees Fahrenheit. In these conditions, frostbite can occur in less than 5 minutes. What makes Antarctica truly extreme is its complete isolation. If something goes wrong here, rescue might be impossible for months. The continent experiences 4 months of complete darkness during winter, followed by 4 months of continuous daylight. This disruption of natural rhythms affects both physical and mental health in ways that scientists are still studying. Yet research stations dot this frozen landscape, housing scientists who choose to live and work in these impossible conditions. They're studying everything from climate change to the possibility of life on other planets. Antarctica serves as Earth's laboratory for understanding extremes. What they're learning here could help us survive on Mars or other hostile worlds. The isolation and beauty of Antarctica create a unique psychological effect. Many who visit describe it as a spiritual experience, a place where the scale of nature makes human concerns seem insignificant. But as we'll see, Earth's extremes aren't always about cold. Our next destination takes us to one of the hottest places on the planet. What mystery baffled scientists for over 70 years and involves rocks that seem to move by themselves across a desert floor? Death Valley holds the record for the hottest air temperature ever recorded on Earth, 134 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's just the beginning of this desert's extremes. This is the lowest, hottest, and driest place in North America, sitting 282 feet below sea level in a landscape that looks like it belongs on another planet. The valley gets its ominous name from the California Gold Rush era, when a group of pioneers became trapped here and barely escaped with their lives. One of the survivors looked back at the valley and said, "Goodbye, Death Valley," giving this place its haunting name. But despite its deadly reputation, Death Valley contains some of the most stunning landscapes in North America. The valley transforms with the seasons in ways that seem almost impossible. During rare winter rains, the desert floor explodes with wildflowers, carpets of gold, purple and red blooms that create a display so spectacular it draws visitors from around the world. These super blooms happen only when conditions are perfect, the right amount of rainfall, the right temperatures, and the right timing. Death Valley's most famous mystery is the moving rocks of Racetrack Playa, a flat desert area. For decades, scientists were baffled by massive boulders that seemed to move across the flat desert floor by themselves, leaving long trails behind them. The rocks, some weighing hundreds of pounds, would apparently slide across the valley floor in perfectly straight lines, sometimes making sharp turns that defied explanation. The mystery was finally solved in 2014, when researchers discovered that on rare occasions, thin sheets of ice form on the valley floor during winter nights. When the sun rises, the ice breaks into large sheets that are pushed by gentle winds, sliding the rocks across the muddy surface beneath. It's a phenomenon so rare that it might happen only once every few years. But Death Valley's beauty comes with serious dangers. The extreme heat can kill in hours. The valley floor can reach temperatures of 200 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cause third-degree burns. Cars break down regularly, and without proper preparation, a breakdown can quickly become fatal. The nearest town is hours away, and cell phone service is non-existent in most areas. The psychological effects of Death Valley are as extreme as its physical conditions. The vast emptiness and oppressive heat can cause hallucinations and disorientation. Many visitors report feeling overwhelmed by the scale and harshness of the landscape, a sensation that park rangers call desert madness. Yet Death Valley continues to draw adventurers, photographers, and scientists who are fascinated by its extreme beauty. It's a place where life persists against impossible odds, where pupfish swim in saltwater pools that are nearly boiling, and where plants have evolved to survive on almost no water. But our journey to Earth's extremes is about to take us to a place that makes Death Valley look almost comfortable. What if Earth had a preview window to show us what other planets might look like? The Danakil Depression in Ethiopia is one of the most alien landscapes on Earth. This geological wonder sits at the intersection of three tectonic plates, massive sections of Earth's crust, creating a landscape that looks like it belongs on another planet. Active volcanoes, sulfur springs, and salt flats create a palette of colors that seem too vivid to be real. Neon yellows, electric greens, and deep oranges that shift and change with the light. This is one of the lowest and hottest places on Earth, sitting 410 feet below sea level with temperatures that regularly exceed 125 degrees Fahrenheit. But the extreme heat is just one of the challenges here. The air itself is toxic in many areas, filled with sulfur dioxide and other volcanic gases that can cause serious breathing problems. The ground is unstable, with hidden hot springs and acid pools that can cause severe burns. The Danakil's most famous feature is the Dalal hydrothermal field, a landscape of sulfur formations that look like alien sculptures. Hot springs bubble up from deep underground, carrying minerals that crystallize into fantastic shapes as they cool. Salt domes rise from the ground like frozen mushrooms, while acid ponds create pools of impossibly bright yellow and green water. The region is also home to the Afar people, who have lived and worked in this hostile environment for generations. They mine salt from the desert floor, cutting blocks by hand and loading them onto camel caravans for the journey to highland markets. It's backbreaking work in temperatures that would quickly overwhelm most people, yet the Afar have developed techniques and knowledge that allow them to thrive here. The Danakil Depression is geologically active, with the African continent slowly splitting apart along the East African Rift. Scientists believe this area gives us a glimpse of what Earth might have looked like in its early days, when the planet was still cooling and volcanic activity was everywhere. The landscape changes constantly, with new hot springs appearing and old ones disappearing as the ground shifts and moves. But the Danakil's extreme conditions also make it incredibly dangerous. The combination of heat, toxic gases, and unstable ground creates a perfect storm of hazards. Visitors must wear gas masks in some areas, and the risk of falling through thin crusts into scalding pools is constant. Many areas are simply impossible to reach without specialized equipment and expert guides. Despite these dangers, the Danakil Depression has become a destination for extreme tourists and scientists studying extremophiles, organisms that thrive in conditions that would kill most life forms. These studies are helping us understand how life might exist on other planets with similarly harsh conditions. The Danakil teaches us that Earth's extremes aren't just about surviving hostile conditions, they're about understanding the fundamental forces that shape our planet. But our journey is taking us from the geology of extremes to the biology of isolated evolution. Our next destination is an island where evolution has created its own unique masterpiece. What happens when nature gets millions of years to experiment in complete isolation? Socotra Island sits in the Arabian Sea like a biological time capsule, isolated from the mainland for millions of years. This isolation has created what plant scientists call the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean, a place where evolution has taken unique paths, creating species found nowhere else on Earth. Over 700 species of plants and animals are unique to Socotra, making it one of the most biodiverse islands in the world. The island's most famous residents are the dragon blood trees, which look like giant umbrellas turned upside down. These ancient trees, some over 500 years old, produce a dark red resin that was once more valuable than gold. The trees create an otherworldly landscape, especially at sunrise and sunset when their distinctive shapes are silhouetted against the sky. Socotra's beaches are pristine, with white sand and crystal-clear water that rivals any tropical paradise. The island's coastline features dramatic cliffs, hidden coves, and coral reefs that harbor unique species of fish and marine life. Some beaches are accessible only by foot through rugged terrain, creating a sense of discovery that's rare in our modern world. But Socotra's beauty comes with significant challenges. The island is incredibly remote, with limited infrastructure and unpredictable weather. The monsoon season brings winds so strong they can ground flights for months at a time. When the winds are blowing, the island becomes completely cut off from the outside world, with no way in or out. The local Socotri people have developed their own language and culture, adapted to the island's unique environment. They've learned to live in harmony with the endemic species, using traditional knowledge to navigate the island's challenges. Their homes are built to withstand the powerful monsoon winds, and their fishing techniques are adapted to the island's unique marine environment. Getting to Socotra requires careful planning and significant expense. Flights are limited and often cancelled due to weather. Once there, visitors must be prepared for basic accommodations and limited services. The island has no luxury resorts, no developed tourist infrastructure, and no emergency services as we know them. If something goes wrong, help could be days or even weeks away. The island's isolation has also preserved its fragile ecosystem, but climate change and increasing human activity pose new threats. Scientists are racing to study and catalogue Socotra's unique species before they're potentially lost forever. The island serves as a natural laboratory for understanding how isolation drives evolution and biodiversity. Socotra challenges our assumptions about what makes a place extreme. It's not the deadliest environment we'll visit, but its isolation and fragility make it one of the most precious. It reminds us that Earth's extremes aren't just about surviving harsh conditions, they're about preserving the irreplaceable wonders that make our planet unique. Our journey is about to take us to the ultimate extreme, the highest place on Earth, where the air itself becomes your enemy, and every breath is a struggle for survival. What drives thousands of people each year to attempt something that has only a 60% success rate and could easily kill them? Mount Everest stands 29,032 feet above sea level, but those numbers don't capture the reality of what it means to stand on the roof of the world. This is the ultimate extreme, a place where human physiology reaches its absolute limits, where every breath is a conscious effort, and where the margin between life and death is measured in heartbeats. The view from Everest summit is literally breathtaking. On a clear day, you can see for hundreds of miles in every direction, with the curvature of the Earth visible on the horizon. The Himalayas stretch out below like a sea of snow-capped peaks, creating a landscape so vast and beautiful that many climbers describe it as a spiritual experience. The silence at the summit is complete. No birds, no wind, just the sound of your own labored breathing. But the beauty of Everest comes with the ultimate price. The summit sits in what climbers call the death zone, altitudes above 26,000 feet, where the human body begins to die. The air contains only 1/3 the oxygen available at sea level, making every movement exhausting. Your heart pounds, your vision blurs, and your thinking becomes clouded by altitude sickness. The mountain creates its own weather system, with winds that can exceed 100 miles per hour and temperatures that drop to -40 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. The jet stream sometimes dips down to summit level, creating conditions that can literally blow climbers off the mountain. Weather windows for summit attempts are measured in hours, not days. Everest's extreme conditions have created what climbers call the Rainbow Valley, a grim reference to the brightly colored gear of climbers who didn't make it home. The mountain holds the bodies of over 200 climbers, many of whom serve as landmarks for others attempting the summit. The thin air and extreme cold preserve bodies for decades, creating a haunting reminder of the mountain's power. The psychological challenges of Everest are as extreme as the physical ones. The combination of altitude, exhaustion, and constant danger creates a mental state that climbers describe as walking through a dream. Hallucinations are common, and many climbers report seeing and talking to people who aren't there. Decision-making becomes impaired, leading to mistakes that can be fatal. Yet thousands of climbers attempt Everest each year, drawn by the ultimate challenge and the indescribable beauty of the world's highest places. The mountain has become a symbol of human determination and the drive to push beyond our limits. Modern technology and improved logistics have made Everest more accessible, but they haven't made it less dangerous. Everest teaches us that Earth's extremes aren't just about surviving hostile conditions. They're about understanding the limits of human potential. The mountain strips away everything unnecessary, leaving only the essential elements of survival and the raw beauty of nature at its most powerful. Our journey is about to take us from the world's highest places to its most biodiverse. Our next destination is a place where life flourishes in abundance, but where that same abundance can be deadly. What if I told you there's a place where a single tree hosts more species than exist in entire countries, yet where that incredible diversity includes some of nature's most efficient killers? The Amazon rainforest is life on Earth, at its most abundant and most dangerous. This vast green ocean covers an area larger than the continental United States, containing more species of plants and animals than any other ecosystem on the planet. The canopy stretches unbroken for thousands of miles, creating a living ceiling that filters sunlight into a green twilight world below. The biodiversity of the Amazon is staggering. Scientists estimate that a single tree in the Amazon can host more species of ants than are found in all of Britain. The forest contains over 40,000 plant species, 1,300 bird species, and 400 mammal species. New species are discovered regularly, and scientists believe thousands more remain undiscovered in the forest's remote regions. The Amazon's beauty is overwhelming. Towering trees create natural cathedrals with vaulted ceilings of leaves. Rivers wind through the forest like silver ribbons, their waters ranging from clear streams to chocolate-brown torrents. The sounds of the forest create a symphony that changes from hour to hour. The calls of howler monkeys at dawn, the songs of countless birds during the day, and the haunting sounds of nocturnal creatures after dark. But the Amazon's abundance comes with deadly dangers. The forest hosts some of the world's most dangerous animals, from jaguars and anacondas to tiny poison dart frogs whose skin contains enough toxin to kill 10 adults. The waters teem with piranhas, electric eels, and caimans. Even the plants can be dangerous. Many species have evolved deadly toxins as defense mechanisms. Disease is perhaps the Amazon's greatest threat to human visitors. The forest is home to numerous tropical diseases, from malaria and yellow fever to lesser-known but equally dangerous illnesses. Insects carry diseases that can be debilitating or fatal, and the warm, humid conditions create perfect breeding grounds for bacteria and parasites. The forest itself can be disorienting and dangerous. The canopy blocks GPS signals, and the uniform appearance of the forest makes navigation extremely difficult. People have become lost just yards from their camps, and without proper equipment and knowledge, the forest can quickly become a deadly maze. Indigenous peoples have lived in the Amazon for thousands of years, developing sophisticated knowledge of the forest's dangers and benefits. They've learned to read the subtle signs that indicate safe water, edible plants, and dangerous animals. Their traditional medicines derived from forest plants have provided the basis for many modern pharmaceuticals. The Amazon plays a crucial role in global climate regulation, producing about 20% of the world's oxygen and absorbing massive amounts of carbon dioxide. But deforestation and climate change are threatening this vital ecosystem. Scientists estimate that we're losing Amazon rainforest at a rate of nearly 5,000 square miles per year. The Amazon teaches us that Earth's extremes aren't always about harsh, lifeless environments. Sometimes the most extreme places are those where life itself becomes overwhelming, where the abundance of nature creates its own unique challenges and dangers. Our journey is taking us to a place where fire and ice coexist, where the Earth's internal forces create landscapes that few humans have ever seen. What secret land was hidden from the world for decades, where brown bears outnumber humans and volcanoes reshape the landscape daily? Kamchatka Peninsula in far eastern Russia is one of the most volcanically active regions on Earth, a place where fire and ice create landscapes that seem almost mythical. This remote wilderness, closed to outsiders for decades during the Soviet era, contains more active volcanoes than almost anywhere else on the planet. The peninsula hosts 30 active volcanoes and over 150 dormant ones, creating a landscape that's constantly changing and evolving. The peninsula's beauty is otherworldly. Steam rises from countless hot springs and geysers, creating an ethereal atmosphere that shifts and changes with the light. The Valley of Geysers, discovered only in 1941, contains dozens of hot springs and geysers in a single valley. It creates a landscape that rivals Yellowstone, but remains largely unknown to the outside world. The colors are spectacular, from the deep blues of crater lakes to the sulfur yellows of volcanic deposits. Kamchatka is also home to the world's largest population of brown bears. These giants, some weighing over 1,500 pounds, gather in large numbers during salmon runs. This creates wildlife viewing opportunities that are unmatched anywhere else on Earth. The bears have learned to fish in the numerous rivers and streams, often ignoring human observers as they focus on catching salmon. But Kamchatka's beauty comes with extreme dangers. The active volcanoes can erupt with little warning, sending ash clouds miles into the sky and pyroclastic flows, fast-moving hot gas and rock, racing down mountainsides at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. The peninsula sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, a zone of active volcanoes, making it one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are regular occurrences. The climate is as extreme as the geology. Kamchatka experiences long, brutal winters with temperatures dropping to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. The peninsula is battered by storms from the Pacific Ocean, bringing heavy snow and hurricane-force winds. Summer brings its own challenges, with thick clouds of mosquitoes and other biting insects that can drive both humans and animals to distraction. Access to Kamchatka remains extremely limited. The peninsula has no roads connecting it to the outside world, and travel within the region requires helicopters or boats. The weather can change rapidly, stranding visitors for days or weeks. The Russian government still restricts access to many areas, and permits are required for most activities. The isolation has preserved Kamchatka's pristine wilderness, but it has also created a landscape where help is often impossible to reach. The peninsula's rescue services are limited, and the vast distances and harsh conditions make emergency response extremely challenging. Visitors must be completely self-sufficient and prepared for any eventuality. Indigenous peoples like the Ivan and Koryak have lived on Kamchatka for thousands of years, developing cultures adapted to the extreme conditions. They've learned to live with the constant threat of volcanic eruptions and to use the peninsula's geothermal features for warmth and cooking. Their traditional knowledge provides insights into surviving in one of Earth's most dynamic environments. Kamchatka represents the raw power of our planet's internal forces, a place where we can witness the same geological processes that shaped the Earth billions of years ago. But our journey is about to take us to a place where human civilization meets one of Earth's most challenging environments. Why does Australia have 21 of the world's 25 most venomous snakes, and what does that tell us about surviving in one of Earth's most isolated places? The Australian Outback covers over 2.5 million square miles of the continent's interior, creating a vast red desert that's home to some of the world's most dangerous wildlife and extreme conditions. This is the red heart of Australia, a landscape painted in shades of rust and ochre that stretches to the horizon in every direction. The Outback's beauty is harsh and unforgiving, but it's also deeply moving, a place where the scale of nature puts human concerns into perspective. The Outback's most famous landmark is Uluru, formerly known as Ayers Rock, a massive sandstone monolith that rises 1,142 feet from the desert floor. This sacred site of the Anangu people changes color throughout the day, from deep red at sunrise to purple at sunset. The rock's spiritual significance to Aboriginal peoples adds a cultural dimension to its natural beauty, making it one of the most meaningful landscapes on Earth. The wildlife of the Outback includes some of the world's most dangerous animals. Australia is home to 21 of the world's 25 most venomous snakes, including the inland taipan, whose venom is potent enough to kill 100 adult humans. The desert also hosts funnel web spiders, redback spiders, and the massive saltwater crocodiles that can grow over 20 feet long. Even the plants can be dangerous. The Gympie Gympie stinging tree can cause pain so intense that it's been known to drive people to suicide. The Outback's extreme isolation is perhaps its greatest danger. Towns can be hundreds of miles apart, connected only by rough dirt roads that can become impassable during the rare but intense rainstorms. Cell phone coverage is non-existent in most areas, and GPS devices can be unreliable. The saying, "never leave the road," is taken seriously here. People have died just miles from their broken-down vehicles because they attempted to walk for help. The climate is as extreme as the wildlife. Summer temperatures regularly exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit, while winter nights can drop below freezing. The Outback receives very little rainfall, sometimes going years without significant precipitation. When rain does come, it can arrive as flash floods that turn dry creek beds into raging torrents within minutes. Aboriginal Australians have lived in the outback for over 50,000 years, developing the world's oldest continuous culture. They've learned to read the subtle signs of the desert, finding water in places where others see only barren rock, and navigating by landmarks and star patterns passed down through generations. Their traditional knowledge, known as country, provides insights into surviving in one of Earth's most challenging environments. The outback has become a symbol of Australia's frontier spirit, attracting adventurers and tourists who want to experience the raw beauty of the continent's interior. But it's also a place that demands respect and preparation. The combination of extreme isolation, dangerous wildlife, and harsh climate creates a perfect storm of challenges that can quickly overwhelm the unprepared. Modern technology has made the outback more accessible, but it hasn't made it less dangerous. Satellite phones and GPS devices provide safety nets that didn't exist for early explorers, but they can also create a false sense of security. The outback's fundamental character remains unchanged. It's a place where nature still holds the upper hand. Our final destination takes us to a place where the Earth seems to merge with the sky, where the boundary between reality and dreams becomes blurred in one of the most surreal landscapes on the planet. What happens when the Earth becomes so flat and perfect that it literally reflects the heavens, creating a place where up and down lose all meaning? Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia is the world's largest salt flat, covering over 4,000 square miles of the Altiplano at an altitude of 12,000 feet. This vast expanse of crystallized salt creates one of the most surreal landscapes on Earth, especially during the rainy season, when a thin layer of water transforms the entire salt flat into a perfect mirror that reflects the sky. The effect is so convincing that it's impossible to tell where the Earth ends and the sky begins. The salt flat was formed when ancient lakes evaporated, leaving behind a crystalline desert of pure salt. The surface is so flat that it's used to calibrate satellite altimeters. The variation in elevation across the entire salt flat is less than 3 feet. This perfect flatness creates optical illusions that can be disorienting, making distant objects appear to float in the air or seem much closer than they actually are. During the dry season, the salt flat is covered in geometric patterns of salt polygons, six-sided shapes, created by the expansion and contraction of the salt crust. These natural formations stretch to the horizon like a vast honeycomb, creating patterns that look artificial but are entirely natural. The white salt against the brilliant blue sky of the high Altiplano creates a color contrast that's almost painful to look at without sunglasses. But Salar de Uyuni's beauty comes with significant dangers. The high altitude can cause severe altitude sickness, with symptoms including headaches, nausea, and difficulty breathing. The thin air provides little protection from the sun's UV rays, and the reflective surface of the salt flat can cause severe sunburn and snow blindness. The combination of altitude and reflection can double the intensity of solar radiation. The salt flat is incredibly remote, with the nearest town hours away over rough, unmarked roads. The flat's vast size and uniform appearance make navigation extremely difficult. There are no landmarks, no road signs, and GPS can be unreliable. Many visitors have become lost on the salt flat, and rescue operations are complicated by the lack of reference points. The weather at this altitude can change rapidly and dramatically. Sudden rainstorms can make the salt flat impassable, trapping visitors for days. The wind can reach hurricane force, carrying salt particles that can sandblast exposed skin and damage equipment. Temperature swings are extreme, with scorching days followed by freezing nights. Local communities have learned to live with the salt flat's extremes. They harvest salt using traditional methods, creating perfect pyramids of salt that dot the landscape during the dry season. They've also learned to read the subtle signs that indicate weather changes and safe routes across the flat. Their knowledge is essential for anyone attempting to cross this seemingly simple but actually treacherous landscape. The salt flat has become a destination for photographers and tourists, drawn by its otherworldly beauty. The mirror effect during the rainy season creates opportunities for photographs that seem to defy physics, but the flat's beauty can be deceptive. Its uniform appearance hides numerous dangers that can quickly turn a photo opportunity into a survival situation. Salar de Uyuni represents the ultimate intersection of beauty and danger that characterizes all of Earth's extremes. It's a place where nature has created something so beautiful and so unusual that it seems almost impossible, yet so hostile that it can kill the unprepared. We've journeyed together through 10 of Earth's most extreme places, from the scorching sands of the Sahara to the mirror-like perfection of Salar de Uyuni. Each destination has taught us something profound about the relationship between beauty and danger, about how the very forces that make these places hostile are often the same forces that make them extraordinarily beautiful. What drives us to these places? Why do we seek out environments that can kill us, that challenge every aspect of our survival instincts? Perhaps it's because Earth's extremes remind us of our place in the universe. They strip away the artificial comforts of modern life and force us to confront the raw power of nature. They show us that beauty and danger aren't opposites. They're dance partners in the grand performance of our planet's story. These extreme places also serve as laboratories for understanding life itself. From the heat-loving bacteria in Death Valley's hot springs to the unique species evolving in isolation on Socotra Island, Earth's extremes are teaching us about the limits and possibilities of life. This knowledge could be crucial as we explore other worlds and face the challenges of climate change on our own planet. But perhaps most importantly, these places remind us that our Earth is not a tame, predictable place. It's a dynamic, powerful, and often dangerous world that demands our respect and understanding. The forces that created these extreme environments are still at work, still shaping our planet in ways we're only beginning to understand. As we face global challenges like climate change and environmental destruction, these extreme places become even more precious. They're not just tourist destinations or scientific curiosities. They're reminders of what we stand to lose if we don't protect and preserve the natural world. The next time you see a beautiful sunset or a gentle mountain vista, remember that our planet is also capable of creating landscapes that can kill you in minutes. Earth's extremes teach us that beauty and danger are inseparable, that the most stunning places on our planet are often the most hostile. If you've enjoyed this journey through Earth's most extreme places, make sure to subscribe for more incredible destinations and amazing stories from our planet's most fascinating corners. And here's a question to leave you with. If you could visit one of these extreme places, which would you choose, and what draws you to beauty that comes with such danger? See you next time. Keep exploring, keep traveling, and remember that our planet is full of places that will challenge everything you think you know about beauty and survival.